shows the process of change in emotionally focused therapy, or EFT as we call it. Let me tell you about EFT and the EFT perspective on marital distress. In a distressed relationship, powerful negative affect and attempts to regulate that affect become an absorbing state and organize habitual positions the partners take in interactions. These positions combine to create interactional patterns such as pursue, withdraw, or attack, defend. These patterns then become self-reinforcing and take on a life of their own, taking over all aspects of the relationship and defining the way partners experience and respond to each other. When you look at a distressed couple, you see compelling, intense, negative emotional responses and rigid, repetitive interactional patterns. The EFT therapist sees close relationships in terms of an emotional bond. This means that when the therapist looks at a distressed relationship, he or she will tend to see an insecure bond rather than a bargain that needs renegotiating, or partners who are acting out past childhood conflicts and problems. People are seen as acting out their basic attachment needs for protection, safety, and closeness in the best way they know how, often not being able to see how they make it difficult for their partner to respond to these needs. The problem is to reprocess and reorganize the emotions the partners experience and create new relationship-enhancing patterns of interaction. Patterns that will foster the growth of equality, trust, and closeness. Patterns that create the accessibility and responsiveness that are the basis of secure bonds. The EFT therapist focuses then upon emotional responses underlying the process of interaction and uses each of these, the emotion and the interaction, to influence and recreate the other in the here and now of the session. The therapist accesses and validates emotions which the partners usually avoid or disregard, like the anger and feelings of not being good enough that a withdrawn partner never lets himself touch or express, or the desperate loneliness behind a spouse's criticalness. The therapist accesses and further delineates such feelings. He or she then uses these new emotional responses to help the couple encounter each other in a different way. The therapist focuses on 4 P's. Primary emotion, that's the emotion we don't usually talk about, not the immediate reactive defensive response. Primary emotion, present experience and events, the process patterns or moment-to-moment events that occur within and between partners, and interactional positions. There are 9 steps in EFT which describe the process of identifying dysfunctional cycles, accessing underlying emotions, reprocessing and owning these emotions, and using them to restructure the interaction between partners. In this program, we will show you 6 episodes of therapy from the first and last sessions and key points in the middle stages of therapy, commenting on the process and therapist interventions as we go. Let me now introduce Mark and Prue, 2 professional people who were referred to the hospital clinic for severe marital distress. They had 1 child, they had been married for 6 years, and they'd moved several times due to Mark's career, and Prue resented this very much. He saw the problem as her hostility, lack of warmth and commitment, and she saw him as controlled, distant, and uncaring. Let's look at session 1. The therapist's goal here is to create an alliance, identify positions, process patterns, and underlying emotions. So, there's something that I guess I don't quite understand here. You know, obviously, you people are in a lot of distress in your relationship, and you're talking very calmly and very rationally about the history of your relationship and what's been going on. And right now, I guess, looking at you, it's sort of difficult to imagine you having a fight, in fact. You know, and getting sort of that involved and that distressed as you talk about the fact that you do in your relationship. So I guess I sort of maybe need to know what the fights look like What happens for you when you get into these very distressing scenes which end up in, you feeling that you're locked into a power struggle and that this is terribly painful, and then usually, as I understand it, somebody will leave, probably you, Prue, you'll leave to calm things down, and then you're very distant for days after that. I guess I'd like to know, what does the fight look like?
It's really not that difficult to understand. We get into a power struggle, and I think we both try to come out ahead in it. I know there's a lot of demands on me. I'm not supposed to move anymore, not supposed to work so late, not supposed to take on a lot of projects. Prue has what she wants, I have what I want, and we struggle for that.
Well, it's more like, if I don't get the last word in on this fight, then I'm one down at the next fight. So my big thing is to, I don't know, I don't think Mark understands about this.
You don't think he understands about what? About?
Well, how difficult it is when he's always working, and how difficult it is for him to, I don't know, it's like that French course, Mark, when the baby was born. That's what's going on. It's like he's not there. It's like his career is more important, and then he comes up with the thing that he has to move, that we have to move, that I have to follow him. I mean, where do I fit into all of this?
You know that there were very good reasons for why I had to take the course when I did.
Yes, you told me that.
If I hadn't have taken it then, the 6-month cycle would have been up, and I would have been left behind and not promoted.
Yes, I know, but
French course.
I know all of that, but that's, I don't know, it's just this moving thing. It's like your career and your work and everything about what you do is more important than what I do.
So it's you sort of end up feeling like you don't count very much, right? That you don't have much control of your life and you don't count very much. What counts is his career.
Yes.
Yeah?
That's exactly it.
Right. But I guess I'm also hearing something else, which is that, it's not just about not having control, it's also something about how close the two of you are. It's something about that you don't feel supported by him. You don't feel that he was there for you.
Well, he's just not there. I mean,
right.
Remember when the baby was colicky all the time? I mean, I did this by myself. I mean, we moved and I ended up doing everything by myself, and I had no friends, and I felt awful, and I had nobody to talk to. I mean, really, you just were never around. It was more important to be off on French course, and you didn't understand that.
Prue has never really developed her own career, and we were very, very independent people before we got married, and it's very difficult for her to adjust to that.
You were both very independent when you met. And you'd actually only known each other for about 8 months before you got married, right? So, and then you moved to a new city where you really had to depend on each other, right? I think what I'm hearing, Prue, is that you felt very alone in this relationship.
I've always been alone in this relationship. I don't even know if there is a relationship.
And you don't feel that he understands that?
Well, I mean, I guess we really haven't talked about it all that much, but one of the reasons we haven't talked about it all that much is because he's so off into doing his own thing. And it's almost like, these decisions are made almost without me.
Do you think that you could try to help Mark understand right now, right here, what this feeling of being alone in this relationship has been like for you? Because the sense I get is that you're talking about it quite calmly, but the sense I get is that it's been very, very painful for you in this relationship to feel alone. Do you think that you could help him right now understand a little of what that's been like for you?
Well, it was like with my father always moving us around. And every time we'd make friends, and every time I'd feel settled in the family, then he'd come home and he'd just tell my mother and the kids that we were getting up and going. And it was like we didn't have any choices about it. And it was really hard for us to all pick up and leave, and I'd be in a new city and I wouldn't know anybody. It was just terrible. And that's what it feels like. It feels really like you're doing this to me rather than with me.
Like he's taking you off to a new city, right? And you're powerless. There's nothing you can do about it. You have to go, just like when
Do
you're
I have
little.
a choice? Do I have a choice? Can I say anything about it? I don't have a choice. I mean, I know we have to move.
So there's some anger about the fact that you don't have, there's no choice presented in that for you. It's right, you have to go. Right?
Well, I really resent it.
Yeah, right. And in the new city, you feel very alone, yeah?
Well, you know, I mean, he started the French course right away. I mean, I know he asked me, and I said it was okay, but, I mean, then he went off, and it didn't matter that the baby was colicky. It didn't matter that I was by myself. It didn't matter that I didn't have anybody to talk to. I mean, all these things just didn't matter to him.
Can you help him understand what it felt like to be alone in the house with the colicky baby?
Well, it wasn't very pleasant.
It wasn't very pleasant?
It was awful. It was a horrible feeling to be alone in the house like that. And you just don't understand. I mean, you don't understand what it's like for me. And then we would get into these fights, and I felt like I was even more alone, and I just wanted to go off by myself and leave. And
You felt like you didn't have anybody, right?
I didn't
Nobody
have
was there
anyone.
for you. You were taking care of the baby and nobody was. It's almost like the sense I get is that you felt like he'd taken you off to this new city where you had no control, no friends, no support, and then he'd sort of deserted you.
That's exactly the way I felt, that I was totally deserted. I was all by myself. I mean, it would have been better for me to go back and be with my family than to be in the city all by myself. At least there I would have had some support.
Right. And you did do that sometimes. You went back, right?
Yes.
To Ottawa sometimes to be with your
Yes.
family, right?
Well, it was the only time I felt that, you know, that I was really being cared for.
Right.
I mean, I felt like, I've never felt really okay in this relationship. It's just, everything's too fast, Mark. I mean, everything's just been, you know, I feel like I've been whisked away and plunked in a city that I don't know anybody, and you were off at work, and...
You never felt really taken care of. That's what you're saying.
No, I've never felt taken care of.
Right. Right, I hear that. What's it like for you, Mark, to hear your wife talking about the fact that she's felt alone and deserted in this relationship? What happens for you when she talks about this?
Well, it's not very easy to hear it. I feel as if I've let her down. I pride myself at work on being able to do whatever job needs to be done. But I think in the role of being her husband, I've let her down some of the time.
You're talking about the role, right? It's sort of like you feel that being a husband is a job and you should be able to do it no matter what, and somehow you failed in doing it. Is this what am I hearing you?
Well, in some ways that's how it feels, and what I hear from Prue is that I haven't done a very good job of it. I've let her down some of the time.
Right.
When I think of her as my wife, and I've got the role as husband, it's a lot easier to think about it. But when I start to think of you as Prue, it gets more confusing. It's harder to think of having let her down.
So it's easier if you think about your roles and the fact that maybe you haven't done the kind of job you'd like to do, right? But when you really listen to Prue and start to hear that she feels alone, that's very difficult for you to hear that, to hear Prue talking, not just your wife, but Prue saying, Mark, you haven't been there for me.
Yeah,
that's very difficult for you. What's happening as you say that?
It feels uncomfortable to listen to it. I feel like I failed her.
You feel like you failed. You haven't met her expectations. You haven't done what you feel you should have been able to do. That's very difficult for you, very uncomfortable. Mark, help me here. Maybe I'm wrong, but when I look at your face right now as we talk about this, what I start to pick up, and maybe you can tell me if I'm off, is that you feel sad about the idea that you've disappointed Prue, that you haven't been what you wanted to be to her, what you would have liked to be, right? That you've somehow disappointed her. I get the sense that you feel sad about that. Is that right?
There is a sadness there.
Right.
I think I've let her down. And when I think about it, it does feel sad.
Right. What do you do when you feel that sadness? Usually in your life, what do you do with that sadness, Mark?
Well, I don't tell her about it. I don't confide in her.
So you don't tell Prue?
If I show her any weakness, it just means I'm going to lose the next
Fight.
It just means I'm going to lose the next fight.
Right. So you protect yourself because you say, my goodness, I mustn't show her my tears. The next fight we get into, I'm going to be wiped out. No? And the sense I get is that both of you have felt that in the relationship, that it's not safe enough to really show each other what's going on, your softer feelings, that it's become a place where you have to protect yourselves.
We
right?
both
The other
both
person
say-
becomes the enemy.
We both say things at those times that are very nice.
You say things to kind of win the fight. Right? So you walk around feeling that you failed in this relationship and knowing that you've disappointed Prue, and somewhere in there feeling very sad about all that, but never sharing that with Prue. Yeah? Because it's somehow too risky to share that.
It doesn't feel safe
At all.
to come out
And so,
and show my sadness.
how are you feeling?
Oh,
right
I don't
now?
believe this.
You don't believe it?
No.
That's not the Mark you usually see.
No.
You're looking at him like you don't know who he is.
Well, I don't. I mean, I've never even heard anything about this before.
How do you hide the sadness?
Well, when she gets upset, I try to solve whatever the problem is.
Oh, I
And
see.
often I can't. And I start to feel very frustrated. And at that point, I've got to try to keep the peace at home. And the best way to do that is to just try to keep everything quiet. And sometimes I can't, and it blows up into a fight.
So help me understand. At home then, the way it would go is you would get the message that somehow Prue is unhappy and disappointed in the relationship, On some level, you would feel very bad about that, very sad, like you failed, but you would try to sort of keep control of what was happening, solve the problem, yeah?
No, I
Stay
should be
very
able
logical.
to take care of these things.
You should be able to take care of it, so you try to problem solve, and you sort of stay very logical, and you would begin to get angrier.
Well, he just goes off. Sometimes he's in the basement, sometimes he's...
So your experience of him is he withdraws, and he's logical, and he's in control.
He just doesn't understand what's going on with me.
So then you get angrier and angrier.
I get angrier and angrier.
Right, and then either you blow up and you stay distant, yes?
And commitment's a problem too, because often at those times, that's when she starts talking about leaving.
Okay, so the way it goes here is you don't feel safe enough to talk about the feelings you've talked about here, about your sadness and your feeling of having failed, right? And about how alone you feel. The way it goes at home is you get angry, you feel like he's not there for you, right? You feel you have to protect yourself. You stay logical and calm and try to solve the problem for her. Try to control the interaction. Doesn't work, right? You get angrier. Sometimes you would just withdraw to protect yourself and close the interaction down. Sometimes you blow up, perhaps, and then somebody threatens to leave, usually you, yeah? That's the way it goes at home?
Well, it would really be better sometimes, I think, that if I went back, I would get more support from my family.
I've never felt secure in this relationship. From the beginning. We had to get married because it was moving, and you didn't like that, and she goes back to her family, and I know she needs them.
But you've never been sure that you never really felt that she was counting on you. That's the sense I get.
I don't think she's ever needed me.
You don't see her as needing
I know
you.
she needs me as a husband to bring in the money and pay bills, but I don't think you've ever really needed me. I don't think I've ever counted. And
that must be very, very painful for you.
that means a lot to me, because I'm her husband and I want her to need me.
Right. That must be very painful for you to feel that, Mark.
I really don't know what this is all about.
It's very difficult for you to sort of understand what he's saying now. It's sort of disorientating for you. You don't usually hear him talking this way.
Yeah.
I understand.
This is this is crazy.
Right. So, help me understand, because this is the beginning of this process, so I really need to know that I've got what happens at home right. All right. The therapist here again formulates the negative interactional cycle of pursue, attack, and withdraw, placate that the couple create together and are victimized by. The problem is formulated as the pattern of interactions which continually reevokes both partners' fear, sadness, and anger, and prevents closeness. For you to hear that message, that she's disappointed, right?
That I failed again.
And that you failed again, right? And the more logical and the more calm and the more distant you get, I guess the more alone and angry you become, and it sort of keeps going, and this starts to feed on itself. Have I kind of got it right? Is that what happens?
Yeah,
then you have a fight and you stay distant for days.
Yes.
To the point where you wouldn't sleep together for a long time and stuff like that, right?
Yes, that's right.
And that's what's been going on for the last 6 years.
Or she leaves some of the time.
She leaves some of the time. And the sense I'm getting is that there's not much place for either of you to feel safe and to really feel that you can trust the other person.
But it's not really leaving. I mean, I've never left.
Well, I never know if you're going to be back.
So you don't experience it as leaving. You experience
I just have to get away. I mean, I just have to get away from him.
Right. You have to get away from what's happening in the fight.
Yes.
So you sort of leave to kind of calm yourself down, calm the
I
relationship
go out for a
down.
walk, I walk around the block, I go and have a cup of coffee.
I understand. So for
I'm
you,
not leaving.
so the sense I'm getting is that the way this relationship has gone is that you didn't know each other very long before you got married. You had no choice but to get married because you were moving. You had to move to a new city. And the sense I'm getting is that you didn't have very much time to really learn how to trust each other, how to be close. Right? You didn't have much time to do that, to really feel secure together. And somehow what seems to have evolved in your relationship is that you begin to feel like he's not there for you. You begin to feel like you don't count, you don't have any control in this relationship, right? You don't feel like he's taking care of you. You get angry. You get the message that she's disappointed, right? And you try to be logical and problem solve because it's very painful for you to hear that. So you get the message that she's disappointed and you try to kind of problem solve that and protect yourself by staying a little distant, right? And you stay distant, and the more logical and distant you get, I guess the angrier and the more hurt you get, the more it seems like he's not there. And the whole thing turns into a power struggle where you either stay distant or you sometimes blow up and then you leave. Yes? And it sounds like you get into a power struggle, you threaten each other. Like somebody says, there's the door, or I'm leaving, and you leave, and you're always clear when you leave that really it's kind of a stopgap just to sort of stop what's going on because it's so painful. Is that okay?
Yes.
Yeah. But for you, the way you experience it is that she's left, she may never come back. Yeah? Right. So you're living in a relationship where you feel like he isn't there, and you feel helpless and deserted.
Always.
Right. And you're living in a relationship where you feel like you failed her and she could leave any time. That's hard.